Hello everyone, back again with movie and tune recap. Today, I'm going to explain an American survival thriller horror film from 2026, titled The Devil's Mouth. Spoilers ahead, so watch out and take care. The movie begins with 5 college friends, Sarah, Max, Max's boyfriend James, Adrian, and Adrian's boyfriend Greg, on a holiday in Thailand. The boat they originally booked for a trip across the sea is no longer available, but the captain tells them there is another one. Max, whose father is rich, chooses the bigger boat, and after making the necessary arrangements, they set off across the sea while partying. They spend their time drinking, swimming, and taking lots of photos. It is revealed that Sarah and Max are close friends. They had planned to move to New York together, but Max now wants to move to Los Angeles and asks Sarah to come with her. However, Sarah says she can't because she has already accepted a job in New York. Even so, Max keeps trying to convince her. Later, while the others are playing a game, Sarah decides to go for a swim without telling anyone. To her shock, she realizes that the captain is already driving the boat back to the beach. She starts screaming, but no one hears her. Just then, a school of jellyfish surrounds Sarah and begins stinging her badly. Adrian notices that Sarah is missing from the boat, and the group finally sees her in the water. They rescue her and continue back to the beach. Later, while eating a meal, Max tries to cheer Sarah up after the incident. Sarah forgives Max for leaving her behind, even though it was her own fault that the boat left without her. That night, after watching a performance at the beach, the 5 friends go to another part of the beach to spend time by themselves. While Greg, Adrian, and James are having fun in the water, Sarah and Max talk. Max apologizes again for the earlier incident when Sarah was left behind in the sea. They also talk about their adventure the next day to a cave called the Devil's Mouth, and after that, Max joins the others in the water. While they are having fun, Max suddenly screams after feeling something touch her underwater, and everyone quickly gets out of the water. They soon discover that it is a large sea turtle with a huge bite mark that has killed it, leaving the group shocked. The next day, the 5 friends and the captain set off for the Devil's Mouth cave. They are amazed by the beautiful caves around the area. They soon meet their cave guide, and it is revealed that this is the friends' first time exploring a cave. Despite what happened to her in the water the previous day, Sarah assures Max that she is no longer afraid of the water and will be fine. The friends and then travel by kayak to the Devil's Mouth cave. When they arrive at the cave entrance, they meet a diver who will supervise the group. Shows them a map of the cave. He wants to follow the green route because it is the easiest way to the Devil's Mouth. However, Max disagrees and insists that they should take the red route instead. Says it is not a good idea because the path has already been flooded by the early monsoon. Even so, the rest of the friends agree with Max, although is hesitant at first, he eventually agrees. The decision to take the red route makes Sarah nervous because it is the more difficult path. However, she agrees to go and puts on a life jacket in case something goes wrong. Before they leave, the diver briefly talks to Sarah and tells her that if she gets scared, she should look down because he will be following them. Among all the friends, only Sarah comes fully prepared. She brings a camera, a rope, and a medical kit. They then begin swimming toward the Devil's Mouth cave, and as they follow the red route, they come across a blue tunnel, and tells them that it leads back home and is actually an exit. They soon arrive at the Devil's Mouth, where they see several bats hanging around, and Greg makes fun of them before they continue. Next, they reach the skeleton cave, and tells them that the bones inside the cave are real human bones, leaving the group shocked. He explains that the cave was created after a sinkhole destroyed an entire village. He then tells everyone to respect the cave. When Sarah starts feeling nervous, she looks into the water and sees the diver following them, just as he had promised earlier. The group sits on a large rock and asks Sarah to take a picture of them as a memory of their visit to the cave. Greg starts fooling around and accidentally knocks over a rock, and warns him that the rocks have become weak over time and could collapse because of his carelessness. They continue to the next cave, where they discover that saltwater has entered through a small opening and killed the freshwater wildlife. Sarah notices that what is always giving her special attention and asks him why. What tells her that Max secretly paid him to keep a close eye on Sarah because she still feels guilty about leaving her behind during their first adventure. Sarah tells What that she is fine and asks him to stop treating her differently because she can take care of herself. As they swim away, they fail to notice that a shark is briefly swimming behind them. Sarah confronts Max for paying What to treat her like she cannot take care of herself. In response, Max uses Sarah's knife to carve their names into a rock as a symbol of their friendship. What warns them that the rocks are very sharp and tells them to be careful, and when Sarah looks underwater, she realizes that the diver is nowhere to be seen. A few moments later, Adrian accidentally cuts her leg on one of the sharp rocks, and Sarah uses duct tape to stop the bleeding. According to the safety rules, What says they should return because Adrian is injured. However, the stubborn Max refuses to go back. Determined to explore the last cave, she offers to go by herself and tells the others to return to the entrance while she catches up with them. Meanwhile, underwater, the diver hears a strange sound before a shark suddenly attacks him. Back with the group, Adrian insists that she is fine and wants to continue exploring the last cave. Max is pleased with the decision, but What is clearly frustrated. When they arrive at the cave, they notice that the water is glowing and begin playing around. However, What seems uneasy. As they enjoy themselves, a shark quietly swims beneath them without anyone noticing. After giving Adrian her life jacket to wear, Sarah dives underwater to explore. She notices what looks like a strange liquid, but soon realizes it is actually blood. She quickly tells the others that the diver has been injured, and moments later, the diver's broken goggles float to the surface. What examines the damaged goggles and finds a shark tooth, immediately warning the group, and panic quickly spreads among the friends. What tells everyone they must head back at once, and they all agree. However, the stubborn Max refuses to get into the water, even after What tells them he knows a shortcut to the cave entrance. As Max continues arguing, What finally loses his patience. He tells everyone to follow him and swims away. After realizing that What has left without them, the friends become trapped inside the cave because they do not know it as well as he does. They decide to keep swimming and try to find their way back to the cave entrance, and along the way, Adrian notices that the cut on her leg has started bleeding again. She soon realizes that Greg is missing, and the group finds him hiding behind a rock in a state of panic. The incident reminds him of a frightening experience from his childhood, causing him to panic, but his friends comfort him. As they continue swimming, they are suddenly horrified when the shark appears and attacks Greg. It violently slams him against the rocks, pulls him underwater, and kills him. The remaining friends make their way to a cliff, and seeing her boyfriend die leaves Adrian devastated. She has also suffered several injuries while trying to help Greg. They spot the shark again and realize that it is a bull shark, which explains how it can survive in both saltwater and freshwater. Adrian is angry that What left them, but it was their own decision that led to the situation, and Sarah then uses the backup map to find a way out of the cave. Max tells everyone that they should wait because What will eventually get help once he reaches the cave entrance. Meanwhile, What is making his way back to the cave entrance when he begins to hear a strange sound. Moments later, he comes face to face with the shark. He tries to climb to safety, but then, this happens. The four friends hear What scream and realize what has happened to him, and with his death, their only hope is gone. Sarah tells the others that there is another way out of the cave through the ocean outlet, which is not far away. Max wants them to leave Adrian behind because of her injury. She assures her that once they get out, they will come back with help. However, Sarah refuses to leave Adrian, and James agrees with her. Frustrated, Max tells Sarah to give her the map so she can go her separate ways. As Sarah is handing over the map, Adrian tries to stop her, which causes her to slip and fall into the water. Suddenly, the shark appears, and the group quickly pulls Adrian out of the water before the shark can reach her. The shark gets stuck between the rocks, giving them a chance to escape. However, Adrian is too scared to get back into the water because of the shark. Sarah assures her that she will carry her, but Adrian slips again and falls into the water. Unfortunately, the shark breaks free from the rocks, and before her friends can pull her back up, it attacks and kills her, leaving the others devastated. Sarah once again suggests that they head for the ocean outlet, but Max refuses. She insists that they do not know what is beyond it and says they should go to the honeycomb cave instead, which leads to the cave entrance. Max's opinions usually overrule those of Sarah and the others because of her controlling personality, but James is clearly fed up. He suggests that they should follow Sarah's plan instead, and frustrated, Max decides to go to the honeycomb cave on her own. Not wanting to leave his girlfriend alone, James follows her, and Sarah also goes with them, and they continue toward the honeycomb cave. After swimming for a while, they arrive at the cave, where they spot an opening above them and climb into it. As they crawl through the narrow hole, James says he is afraid of dying in the cave, but Max and Sarah reassure him that they will make it out alive.
If I get out of here, I swear I'm gonna...
A few moments later, Sarah hears birds chirping, and they see daylight ahead, and this gives them hope that they are close to escaping. Suddenly, the rocks collapse, and Max almost falls into the water, but she manages to hold on. To make things worse, the shark appears and begins circling below her, and Sarah tells Max not to move. After the shark swims away, Sarah tries to pull Max up, but she is not strong enough. Max falls into the water, and Sarah and James jump in after her, making their escape even more difficult. As they continue swimming, they pass through several tunnels with air pockets where they stop to catch their breath before swimming again. During the journey, Sarah accidentally hits her knee against a rock, injuring it, and as expected, the shark catches up with them again. Fortunately, the space they are in is too small for the shark to enter. Even so, Max and Sarah are nearly bitten several times, but they manage to escape. Eventually, they lose the shark and reach another air pocket. Suddenly, a falling rock traps James. Sarah and Max give him air and try to pull him free, but the rock will not move. Accepting his fate, James tells Max to leave with Sarah. He eventually drowns and dies. James's death leaves Max devastated, but there is no time to grieve, and Sarah tells her they have to keep moving. The two friends arrive at a cave where they find What's body, the same place where he was killed. Suddenly, the shark attacks them again, and Sarah manages to distract it by throwing What's body toward the shark. They continue swimming until they reach another cave and climb onto the rocks. To their frustration, Sarah and Max realize they have gone in a circle and ended up back where the shark had been attacking them. Max is to be blamed for their current situation. If they had listened to Sarah from the beginning, none of this would have happened. She confronts Max and finally takes charge, and a moment later, they hear a strange sound. They go to investigate and find the shark trying to attack bats at the Devil's Mouth. With the blue tunnel nearby, the two women slowly swim toward it, doing their best not to attract the shark's attention. Sarah tells Max they should hide behind the stalagmites and wait until the shark leaves so it won't follow them into the tunnel. However, Max decides to swim toward the tunnel instead. Catching the shark's attention, she manages to climb onto a cliff just in time. The shark keeps slamming into the rock, causing pieces of it to fall and block the tunnel entrance. One of the falling rocks even hits Max's hand. Sarah distracts the shark with a flare and throws it into its mouth. The flare burns the shark, and it swims away. The shock is too much for Max, and she loses consciousness, falling into the water, but Sarah quickly helps her and swims with her to the ocean view. Max later regains consciousness but loses hope that they will survive, and Sarah encourages her, telling her that they will make it out alive and visit their dream country. Sarah then climbs up to a gap at the ocean view, and when she looks down, she is disappointed to see several rocks below. She tells Max that climbing down would be too dangerous for now and suggests they wait for the tide to rise before trying to escape. That night, while they are sleeping, Sarah wakes up and climbs toward the gap, planning to leave Max behind. However, it turns out to be only a dream. Max says she believes she is going to die in the cave, but Sarah assures her that if she gets out, she will send help. As the tide begins to rise, Sarah climbs back to the gap and gets ready to climb down. However, Max stops her and says she is coming too, even though she has a broken hand. After securing the rope tightly, Sarah throws it down to Max, which she ties around her waist, and Sarah begins pulling her up. Unfortunately, as Max begins to climb, the shark suddenly appears and bites her, dragging her into the water. Sarah is also pulled into the water because of the rope. She quickly uses her knife to cut the rope, freeing herself, but she is devastated by Max's death. Now alone in the cave, Sarah remembers What's warning about the unstable cave walls and comes up with a plan to kill the shark. Using her remaining tools, she makes herself the bait and uses her blood to lure the shark into attacking her. The plan works. The shark crashes into the rocks, causing a large section of the cave to collapse and crush it to death. A piece of falling rock also hits Sarah, knocking her unconscious, but she wakes up a few minutes later. With everything finally over, Sarah climbs out of the cave through a gap, and covered in blood, she looks out at the ocean and screams in triumph. Okay guys, that's all the recap about The Devil's Mouth from 2026. Thanks for watching, see you again in the next video.